Hello and welcome to the third episode of my knitting podcast. For the ones who are new to this channel, a very warm welcome. My name is Anastasia. I'm 28 years old. I'm originally from Germany and I have been living in the UK now for just over a year. And prior to that I have been living in Iceland for a couple of years, where I discovered my passion for knitting. I have been a bit quiet on this channel lately, and that has mainly two reasons. So the first reason was that I went back to work, like I told you in my last episode. So I am back at the moment. I am working full time, and yeah, that was one reason why I was so busy. The other reason was that my sister got married last week, and yeah, we were quite busy in organizing everything, so I had the honor of being one of her chief of bridesmaids. And yeah, we had such fun. We had a very fun bachelorette party, or hen party like you say in the UK. It's called Junggesellenabschied in German. And then we had a very nice celebration of the wedding. So that took place in my mom's garden, and that meant we were very busy with building a venue, and but it turned out really well. We were super lucky with the weather, and yeah, that was why you didn't hear of me for a bit. But now I'm back, and with the weather getting a bit colder now, I think I am about to get my knitting mojo back. So I have done some knitting for the last days, and I think I'm ready for maybe autumn now. I feel like we're getting there. I have done a few creative things as well for the hen party and the wedding. So I have sewn some masks. So I'm not a big sewer. I've only got a sewing machine earlier this year, and I finally got to use it a bit. So I made a personalized face masks for the wedding because of the coronavirus. We had to wear a mask when going into the restaurant, so I decided to make some that go a bit with the color scheme of the wedding. So I made this one, and over here is a logo of the wedding. I'm just gonna cover it up. I was able to print this personalized logo of their initials onto that mask. And another thing that I did, I organized some cotton drawstring bags, just like this one. And I also printed their wedding logo on here, and that was for the hen party. So I made like little goodie bags for the girls, and I put in some mask as well, and just a few things that they could use during the day. And then I had a couple of bags left, and I thought, why not try it with my logo? So I think I'm going to use that one for small knitting projects, just maybe to put in some socks. But I was really happy that actually making these things taught me how to print onto fabric. So this is just a paper that you can buy online, or I don't know if you're able to buy it in a shop, but yeah, I found that one online. There are different kind of papers, so you can get paper for colored fabric, or you can get paper for light fabrics, like white fabrics. And then you just print them in your normal printer that you have at home, and you cut the part that you want to have printed out, and then you iron it on. And I have to say, I'm quite happy with the result. I think it looks very well made. And the reason why I actually ended up doing it myself is that I went online and I wanted to actually buy these bags personalized, and I was quite shocked because obviously, and I completely understand it, knowing how much time it takes, they were fairly expensive. And nobody was really able to do it exactly like I wanted to have it, so I thought, well, why not try it myself? And yeah, it turned out really well. Everybody was really happy. The bride was really happy, my sister. And yeah, I think it's a very nice idea if you have like a party coming up, or you want to maybe, if you have kids and they have their birthday party and you want to give little bags to everybody, to all the kids, then I think it's a really nice idea. And even if you just want to have like, I mean, I use these sort of bags for quite a few things. So I've got a bit bigger ones for my shoes. If I travel, I put my shoes in these sorts of bags. I put my knitting in there. Yeah, and actually these cotton string bags are also really good to store bread in. So we always have a few of these cotton string bags, and we put fresh bread in when we bake some new bread. Yeah, so that's about the wedding and why I have been busy. And I think we shall just jump into my finished objects, and I'm just going to continue talking about the wedding, just very briefly. So I made a wedding garter for my sister. There's like a tradition that you get something blue for the wedding. So I decided, oops, just dropped that one. So I decided to make a wedding garter, and I looked up online, I looked on Ravelry what pattern I could use, and I found that pattern that was from Kirsten Holloway, and this pattern uses some crochet yarn, a crochet yarn in number 10. So I wasn't really familiar with where you can get that, so I was able to find that on Etsy. This is just a cotton string from Ariadne, and yeah, the color is 0000. Yeah, just like a very normal, like a beige white. And then I added some, this is like a gathered elastic, and this, because the tradition is that you have something blue, so I added this elastic in blue. And then I just crocheted a wedding garter. I will insert you a few pictures here. So the first pictures that I'm going to show you now is the picture when I blocked it, and I was actually quite impressed. You can see very well what kind of difference it makes if you block something. And yeah, over here, so I used a pin for every petal. I used quite a lot of pins, and I knew that I was going to use so many pins, but it makes such a difference. And yeah, and then I also added a little flower, so that comes with the pattern as well. The pattern, you can find it online for free, so if you go on her website, there's a link from Ravelry onto her website. There's a free pattern, and I think you can also purchase one. And yeah, you need really small amounts only of this yarn. I think I used maybe 3 grams or something, so not much. And yeah, I think it was very nice. It makes it very special if you have such a present that you made yourself. It didn't take long, and well, considering that I've got so much yarn left, I think I have to make a few more. I just have to, yeah, my friends have to get married. that's it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna make out of this. If you have a good idea what I could make out of it, please let me know. And yeah, the other thing I discovered with this project is actually before in my last episode in my last episode I showed you the amigurumi airplane that I was crocheting, and I bought like maybe a few months ago, I bought this very normal crochet hooks. Came in a set, nothing special, just a metal crochet hook. And I thought, well, that will be good enough. It won't make a real difference. And then for this project I needed a really small hook, so I bought this one. So this one is just a crochet hook from Knit Pro. And I was quite amazed what difference it makes if you have a nicer crochet hook. So this one is very nice to like have in your hand, and normally I would get quite get heavy hands doing this crocheting, but I found this one so much better from the feeling in your hands. So definitely something I can recommend. So if you are crocheting, give it a go with maybe a bit better crochet hooks, because it makes a big difference. Yeah, that's it about my wedding garter. The next thing I want to talk about is my other finished object, and it's actually what I'm wearing. So this one is the Cloudberry tee. That is a pattern from Fiber Tales. She's a designer. Her name is Lerke. She is Danish, and you can find her on Instagram and Ravelry as well as Fiber Tales. And she also is a YouTuber, so she's got a YouTube channel. And I was very lucky that I was able to test knit this tee for her. So I saw her call for test knitters and I applied right away because I thought it's such a sweet pattern, and I'm really happy with the result. So yeah, it's a very straightforward pattern. So it's knit, the front and the back panel, they're knit separate until you get to like under the arms, and then you knit in rounds, and you pick up stitches for the sleeves and for the neckline. And yeah, there's a bit of color work on the sleeves, so normal color work here, and then you have some bubbles as well. So these little yellow flower petals, there are bubbles, and then it's just a very simple 1, 2, 3 ribbing at the end. I had a bit of a problem with doing the color work because I'm not really used to doing color work with such a thin yarn. Normally I do a lot of color work in my Icelandic sweaters. So with this yarn I found it a bit harder to get the tension right. So I knitted one sleeve and then I knitted the other, and then I thought, oh, they're very different, I'm gonna have to change it. So I ripped it out again, so I knitted another sleeve. So in total I think I knit around 3.5 sleeves. But yeah, I'm really happy now, and I think once you wash it and block it, it's always quite different as well. I think it has settled down really nicely, and yeah, I really like these little bubbles. I think they make it very special. For that top, so these ones are just like sock yarns that I had left over. So the grey one is a dyed yarn from My Mama Knits, and the yellow one is a yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, just a normal sock yarn. And then for the main part, the screen one, I used a Camaros Oculus Summer Wool. So this is a 70% organic merino wool and a 30% organic cotton wool. Yeah, I really like working with this one. It is so soft and so nice to work with, and I think it was also not too expensive. So this top, I think I used 3.5 balls, and yeah, I've got this one left, so I'll have a good think about what I can do with the rest of this. but yeah, I really like it. The only things I will have maybe to change is I bind off the neckline a bit too, well, not loose enough, so I have a bit of trouble to get into this top. And I thought, oh, it's going to be alright, it's going to stretch out, but unfortunately I think I have to work on this bind off, so I'll have a look and if I can change that. But other than that, I think, yeah, design is really nice. I think it's also perfect now for the change of seasons. So since it is getting a bit colder now, I like to put on something, yeah, a bit yeah, cozy, but still not too warm. I think it's not just yet sweater weather. Correct me in a week. But yeah, at the moment I think that is perfect to wear inside the house, or maybe even if it's a bit sunny outside. I really like it. I think it's great. And I think I will just jump into my work in progresses now. So in my last episode I showed you that I was working on another test knit, and unfortunately I wasn't really able to knit much further on that one. Well, I say that actually in the last couple of days I made a bit of progress there. So this one is the Amaruq sweater from Anna-Sofia Vintersol. She's called Loparefur on Instagram and Ravelry. And yeah, these are the both of the sleeves. And yeah, I think it is such a beautiful pattern. I can't wait to finish that one now. When I knit, I always think about the end result. I'm this kind of person, so I like the progress of knitting, but I'm always like, I just want to get it done because I can't wait to see the final, result. Yeah. So I've got these ones done, and I've got the body already cast on as well. So this is the body, and to make it up a bit for, yeah, I've been I think I'm the slowest test knitter. The pattern has already been released, but luckily Anna-Sofia said I don't have a deadline, so yeah, I'm really grateful for that. So I'm actually able to take a bit of time there. But yeah, this is now my only thing I'm working on, so I'm gonna concentrate on that one. And to make up that for, yeah, being so slow, I decided to make a variation of that pattern. So I'm gonna make a cardigan, and this for that reason, at the moment I'm knitting flat, so I'm knitting back and forth just for the lower, well, for the bind off and the ribbing, and then later on I will add 2 purl stitches in the middle on the front panel, and I will steek it at the end. So I think this time I will show you a little insight on how I steek. I know a lot of people are afraid of doing it, and I totally understand it. I mean, every time I have done it so far, and I've only done it twice, but every time I have done it, I was so nervous. But I really love that feeling of cutting through your knitting, and then when you fold it up, it is so great because knitting in a round, I find the fabric gets really even. So yeah, steeking is definitely something I absolutely love, and I can only recommend doing that. So I'm gonna let you participate in that, and I'm gonna make a video when I get that far. Still got loads to do, so I still have to knit all the body. This pattern is actually not knit like the traditional other Icelandic patterns that I have done so far. So normally you knit the sleeves and the body in rounds and then you join them together, but this one is a drop sleeve pattern. It's the first time I'm doing it, so yeah, I can't really tell you much about it. I'm curious, and yeah, I just, every time I pick up a new style, I learn new skills, I just learn it because I do it. I don't really think too much about it in advance, and I think yeah, this is the reason why I love knitting, because even if you make a little mistake, forget about it, you rip it out, you start again. And yeah, I absolutely love learning new skills and just diving into new techniques. For this Icelandic sweater, or actually it's an Icelandic style sweater, I am using lead lopi. So this is like an Aran weight Icelandic wool, single ply, and this gives you 100 meter on 50 grams. This color is called Mimosa. It's the color code is 1703, and I've got loads of that left, so I love that colorway. And yeah, for the other colors I just used all the little bits that I had left in my stash. Actually yesterday I finished that sleeve, and yeah, I was very lucky because this is the amount of yarn I had left of that color. And I tried to order online this special dye lot, but nobody has it on stash. Well, nobody has it on stock because it is quite an old dye lot that I had in my stash. So I was really, really lucky because this is the one I have left of that ball. So now for the body I can just order some newer, well, one of a newer dye lot, and it won't really matter because you won't really have the right connection. It's not going to be too close to the other colors, and I don't think you will be able to tell the difference. But if you would have done it in the middle of here, for example, then sometimes you can see the difference quite well. Yeah, and that's about the Amaruq sweater. Yeah, I will show you the finished object hopefully in the next episode. I'm working hard on that one. And then the next thing I have for you is my acquisitions. So I didn't buy that much, and yeah, as I said before, I really try to get rid of, no, not get rid, I'm trying to use what I've got at home. And to do that I wanted to try something, so I want to combine some Icelandic yarn with mohair. So my mum was so kind and she got me this beautiful purple mohair. This is just a Rico design. It's a 70% mohair and 30% silk. So I'm curious how this is gonna be to combine with Icelandic wool. Yeah, I've got a project in mind that I want to try to make out of it, and this is a bit of a long-term project, so yeah, stay tuned. It's gonna probably take some time until I show you what I made out of it. But yeah, I've never worked with mohair, I don't really know how that knits. I just saw it that a lot of people are using it and loving it, and I thought, I gotta try that as well. The other thing I just got in the mail, and actually I just got it in the mail maybe half an hour ago, so I had a look in front of my doorstep and it was there. So I ordered a book. This one is the Cast on Bind-Off book by Sease. And this book is a description of 211 ways to begin and end your knitting. And the reason why I got this one is because, for example, on this one, I find it a bit of a shame that something that you spend so much time working on depends at the end on like little details. And I want to, when I spend so much time knitting a garment, I really want it to be perfect. Unfortunately, I'm a complete perfectionist, especially in my knitting. And it takes me sometimes quite, well, I spend a lot of time altering stuff that nobody else would see, but if I know about it I have to change it. So I want to learn different techniques on how to make it perfect for me, and I thought this is actually quite important because like these little things on the edges, like the cast on and the bind off, make a difference. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to using that one. Another thing I wanted to talk about with you is my tools. So I do work with different kind of tools, so knitting needles, and a little introduction of how I got to my knitting needles that I'm using now. So when I started knitting, I didn't have a clue. I thought, okay, for knitting you use these long single pointed needles, that's how you knit. Well, I didn't know better. And then because my first project that I really did was a Icelandic sweater that is knitted around, I just went in Iceland you just go to a supermarket. They have a knitting supply there in the supermarket. So I went there and bought a fixed circular needle. And I didn't really as I said, I didn't know what different kinds of circular needles there are. So I bought the one in the wrong length, and then I bought the one with the wrong tip. And it was just a nightmare to get to the point that I really said, okay, I have to research that and what do people use. So I had a good research and I found out that there is something like interchangeable circular needles. And that has the benefit that with these interchangeable circular needles you get different needle sizes, and you also get different cords. So if you buy it in a set, obviously, if you buy single ones, you just have to buy it. Well, you buy every circular needle itself. But yeah, if you buy a set of interchangeable circular needles, you get the variety of using different cords with different needle sizes. So I had a good research and I came to the conclusion that I want to use wooden needles. And that has one main reason as well, because at the beginning when I started knitting, I wanted to have a good control over the wool or the yarn that I was using. And wooden needles have the advantage that you get quite a good grip on them, so it is not very, or you won't lose your stitches, so they keep well on the needles and it's very easy to use them. And I have been using the set now for, well, 2 years I think. I bought that one when I was on a trip in America, in the United States. So this one is a Knitter's Pride Dreamz Symphony Wood Interchangeable Deluxe Needle Set. So it comes with 9 different needle tips, from US size 4 to US size 11, and well, this is equal to 3.5 millimeters up to 8 millimeters, and it also comes with 4 different cords. So one cord that gives you a 60 centimeter length, then 2 cords that give you 80 centimeters, and one long one which is the one for 100 centimeters. And for example, when I knit my Icelandic sweaters, I use the orange one, which is the 80 centimeter. Is it? Yeah, the 80 centimeter one that is perfect for the body. And then once I join the sleeves together with the body, then I use a 100 centimeter cord to just like knit this part over here. And then once I decrease again the stitches, I can just change the cord, which makes it so easy, because otherwise you might have to get another needle set. I just love being so flexible with the needles. And I was even able to buy, because I needed some smaller needles, so I needed one in 3 millimeters and 3.25 millimeters. So I was able to buy some other needles from KnitPro that are that you can actually combine with these cords as well. So they don't necessarily need to be the same collection, but you can just like add on to that. And the other thing that I did, I got some extra long cords. So these are also, they're like, I think this one is 1.5 meters. And then I've got another one which is 2 meter long. I think it's 2 meter. It's a very long one. So you can actually get extra cords, and therefore you're able to knit very big projects. Or you can, I use that very long cord, for example, when I knit both sleeves at the same time. So yeah, I think having this circular needle set is so good, and I can only, like, if you don't know whether to get one or not, have a good look, but I think in the long run you will always end up getting circular needles, especially because nowadays a lot of patterns are knit in the round, so you don't really have the option to, unless you also always want to knit patterns that are knit flat and seam together. Eventually, like for some things, it is actually necessary to have circular needles. I have to say at the end, I never ended up using the single pointed needles. I got a few ones and I gave them, well, almost all away, because I realized even when I knit something flat, I still use my circular needles and just turn the work. I find it a bit easier, and especially when you knit something heavy and you do it on the single pointed needle, the weight that you get on your hand can be very heavy. I will just show you. So, because if you've got like something heavy on the needle over here, obviously you just get so much weight on your hand. And I know some people knit with the needle under their arm. I have never tried that. It's a different sort of technique, but yeah, this is maybe a way to handle very heavy garments that you knit on the single pointed needles. But I have never used them. At the end, I always used my circular needles. The other good thing about this set is that actually it's very nice organized in this see-through bag, so you can see what needles you have in here. You've got space to put your accessories in here, so I always got the cables in here. You also get some of these cord keys. Oh, there's no cord key in this bag. Over here, yeah. So you get cord keys, and with these cord keys you then can tighten the cord onto your needle. And you also get the cord caps. So for example, if you want to use the needles from one project on another one, you can basically park your project. You can just secure both sides of the cord, and then you can use the needles on a different project whilst the other one is secure and just lying there, so you won't lose any stitches. The other thing you can also add to that one is, before I got the very long cables, I also got cable connectors, so you can connect like one of these shorter cables. For example, if you need a long cable and you're running, you don't have it available, you can just connect one of these cables with a cable connector. It's very handy as well. And this bag, actually, I use it for all my important knitting things. So I made an effort and I cleared it up, but once I'm done filming, I'm gonna make sure to put everything back in this bag, because I always got like a tape measure in here. I put my little scissor in there, and all the little things. Like I've got my cable needles in here as well, to just have them handy with me. I think it's just great. It's very good value for the money, and I can only recommend getting a interchangeable needle set. One thing I'm thinking about is getting some steel needles, because obviously, like, different needles have different characteristics. So these wooden needles They give you good grip, but if you want to knit very quick, you might consider getting steel needles. So this is one thing I'm thinking about. I've got one steel needle set, but I'm not too happy about it. So I'm at the moment having a look what I can maybe get to work around that. The single pointed needles that I just showed you before, a little fun story about that one actually is I bought these ones when I was on a trip in Chile. So my mother is from Chile, and I went on a trip there last year, and I visited the south of Chile. So I went all the way down to almost Patagonia. So I went to the island of Chiloe, and I was in a little very nice little shop, and they had like handmade things, products, and I saw these. Actually, I saw this this yarn they had. So this is, I think it's a hand spun. I suspect it's hand spun, but because it's like imperfect but perfect. So it's a very rustic yarn, and I suspect it's also hand dyed because they are all a bit different. All of these balls. So I got this ball, this yarn, and I also got these needles because I thought, oh, I'm going to use that one. But obviously I don't knit with a single pointed needle. I just kept them once, and yeah, I'm thinking about what to make with this wool over there. But yeah, I just keep these knitting needles in this little box that I found in my mom's house. I find it so sweet. It's yeah, it's a nice memory, or like a little thing that I have for my mum. But yeah, I'm looking forward to using that yarn as well. If you have an idea what I can knit out of 3 balls, I think they're just short of 100 grams, and I tried to measure it. So there's a technique on how to measure it, and it's supposed to be something around DK yarn, even though it surprises me. Some of the bits are very thick, and then sometimes it goes very thin. So yeah, it's very, like as I said, it's imperfectly perfect. If you have a suggestion, please let me know. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is the inspiration. So as always, I tell you a bit about what inspired me in the last couple of weeks. And this week I want to highlight an Instagram account that I have been following now for maybe half a year or so. And that is the lovely Paulina. She's Icelandic, and she is a farmer, and she shares her life, how they farm in Iceland, and I find it so interesting actually how their daily life is. Well, it's not like a blog or something, but she gives you a bit insights on how farming is, sometimes very cruel maybe, but how nature is really. But for example, this year they adopted a little lamb. So this lamb was really not doing well, and it was very small, and so this little lamb is called Lily, and yeah, it's so fun to see how it grew up with them, first living in the house. It was almost like a pet, and yeah, it's so nice to see. And I think it's a great account if you want to have a bit of an insight as well about how farming is. This week or last week she showed how they were gathering the sheep from the highlands. So in Iceland the sheep are living outside in the highlands over the summer months, and they live together with other sheep from other farmers, and they just roam free. And then in September they are all being gathered, and then they're being sorted. And the sorting is called retir. And yeah, so all the sheep are gathered on one big field, and then they are being sorted, so every farmer finds their sheep. So a very nice account to follow. Give it a go. I'm sure you will like it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to have a look on my other social media accounts, I am called Free Your Sheep on Instagram and Ravelry. On Ravelry I have just created a group for you to like introduce yourself and have a chat about what you find interesting, so it would be lovely to see you there as well. And then I just hope that I will be able to record the next episode a bit quicker than I did this time. But thank you so much for your patience, and if you've got feedback for me, please go for it. I am German, I can deal with feedback. So if you want to let me know what I can do better, please, I appreciate it so much, and I hope you can see that I'm putting effort in like getting better and making it more enjoyable to watch. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye bye.